Typically, when a buyer is looking at your business, someone from their team is going to have a look at it in terms of return on investment. And here we can see the multiple has an inverse relationship to the return. So if the higher the multiple, the lower the return for the buyer. So for example, you can see here, a 10 multiple gives you a 10% return. 9 gives you 11%, 8 gives you 13%, 12, 14%, and it goes on down the list. So if you think about investment, a 10 times multiple and 10% return, well, you can probably just get that through an indexed fund. So that's why it will be rare for somebody to pay a 10 multiple, because there's much less risk involved in just buying an index fund compared to buying a business. And if we have a look at the bottom end of the scale, you see here that a 1 times multiple will give you a 100% return. A 2 times multiple gives the buyer a 50% return. A 3 times multiple gives you a 33% return. 4 gives you 25, and 5, 20%. In this area, between 1 and 5 is where you see most of the transactions happen, because that gives you a suitable return for the risk of running the business. Most average businesses transact for a 3% multiple, which implies a 33% return for the buyer. If you're a really good business, you can transact at 4 and 5 times multiples, because the buyer is happy to accept a 20 and 25% return. Typically, if I'm buying clients, for the risk involved in running a business, you want at least a 25% return. So often you'll see a cutoff mark at about there. However, if it's a really great opportunity, you can sometimes squeeze up to 5 and accept 20%. Businesses do transact at this higher range of multiples. And the reasons why is because the buyer thinks they can grow the business, or they can reduce costs, achieve synergies, or the purchaser might be focused on buying an asset, which might be the goodwill of the company, its technical know-how, a client list, or some other asset, and the purchase price isn't linked to the cash generated by the business.